Okay, we are holding on Daf Ches Amud Aleph. We're on 8A, and we're going through for trying to go fast through the Chazara. So we're reviewing, and we are holding on 8A. We're going to start with Im Yishay Chanoshach Amar Bremer Ami by the period in the Gemara, which is
8A1.
probably about 17 lines from the top. That's Ba'amar Reb Ami, my Dachsiv. And if you're in the art scroll, yeah, it looks like it's 8A1.
On top of this right side.
Second column, right, second column, 8A1, second column. Okay. All right. Well, Mark, just a Ruvain. Let's just tell him. Okay, Ruvain, we're on 8A1, second column. 8A1, second column. Okay, let's begin. So the Gemara says, Rabami says, Im yishai chanoshach b'lei lachash. If the snake bites without being charmed or incantation, without any, without being charmed, vein yisrael l'bala lashin, and what benefit is to the person who is capable of charming, but he doesn't do it? Like, what benefit is he? That's the simple meaning of the verse. But the Gemara is going to darshan it to mean something to do with rain. So the Gemara says, if you find a generation, that the heavens is rusty, like it's like copper. In other words, it's rusty like the red color of copper, the reddish color. From giving rain. So the reason for that is it's because b'lei lachash, the pasuk says, because because there aren't people who know how to speak quietly, meaning they don't know how to daven quietly. That's the problem. They don't. There aren't people who know how to daven properly in the generation, or they're not davening properly. In my takanosim, so what should the people do in order for it to rain? So it says, go to someone who knows how to do that, who knows how to daven. In the Chsiv, as it says, Yagid Olav Reya, his friend will speak on his behalf. And the Gemara's understanding lech she'lechisha is to refer to davening. Some want to say that it has to do with the fact that davening is supposed to be quietly, and so what that means is that the people are not davening quietly; they're davening out loud, as if they don't believe Hashem hears them or knows what they're thinking, and so it's a chisaron and amuna. They don't have amuna properly because they're not lech she'lechisha. They're not davening quietly, and they're saying it out loud. What they need to do is find someone who can daven quietly and has more trust in Hashem, and it'll work. Then Yisrael l'Baal Haloshin, what benefit is to the Baal Haloshin? What does that mean? So the Gemara says, if a person knows how to daven properly and doesn't, what benefit does he have if he's not utilizing his ability to daven? Again, these are different pshatim on how to exactly understand what it's saying, but basically someone who knows how to daven should daven, or knows how to daven quietly should daven quietly. What happens if a person did do this and it didn't work? So what solution do they have? What should they do? Now they have to go to a chassid. Before they went to the person who knows how to daven, could daven. The chassid is a guy who always daven. They should go to the chassid, the yarba olav betfila, and he will be the yarba on him, or on the people who came on the generation, on the generation with tefillah, with davening shenemer, as it says, Vayitzav alav b'mafkia, that other pasuk that we had before yesterday. We had that pasuk Vayitzav alav b'mafkia, right? It said, what was the pasuk? Al kapayim kisa'ar, on the palms, the light covers. Vayitzav alav b'mafkia, and he commands on him with a entreater. B'mafkia. So it's like Saval of Mafkia, get someone who knows how to daven and to have him put his prayer in. Ben Pegila Tefillah, Shnemer says, Vatal Tspal Bad Hamazeh, don't pray for this nation. Valtisa Badam Reno Tefillah, don't carry for on their behalf, Rina Utfila, song and prayer. Valtifka be, and don't pray to me, don't entreat me. So that is the proof that Pegia means tefillah by Tzavel of Mamafkia. It's basically emphasizing that they go to the chassid and he will daven for the generation. Yeah.
It's interesting. It says chassid shavador instead of tzaddik shavador.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what the how would you translate the well, a tzaddik is someone who has more avos Hashem. A chassid is someone who cares, who has more well, chassid, I guess it's mischassidim kainai.
More chesed.
But it could also does lefnim mishur sadin. Cares about others. Maybe it's because he cares more for the people. I don't know. The tzaddik is more about his avos Hashem. The chassid could be like a chassid chassid burns his nails, even though it hurts him. It's maybe that's the concept. Chassid. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, well, yeah, what the specific inyan of chassid versus.
Yeah, because it says a chassid has to have somebody that he does place his chassid towards. So, like you're saying, it's the chassid. Maybe it's more towards he's worried about his fellow, whereas the tzaddik is more from him to Hashem.
Maybe it's also that he might lose out in his merit, but yet he's still willing to daven for them. Maybe something along those lines. That a chassid is someone who goes even against himself to his detriment. Something along that maybe might be the shot. Okay, so it says good question anyway. So the imlachash also biyode. What happens if it worked? They went to this person, he davened for them, and it worked. Umegas daito yalav, but then he feels proud. Maybe af liyolam, he brings anger to the world because he's proud and he thinks it becomes arrogant because of it. Shenem, as it says, mikne af al oila. Again, that's the end of that pasuk where it says Yagid olav reyoy, his friend will daven on his behalf. In mikna af al oila means that will cause there to be anger, because he is oila, he is elevating himself. He brings himself up, makes himself feel big. Rashi does bring another shot here that it means that if he davens for them, that 1 second, is this Rashi? There's a Rashi here that says there's a second shot. Maybe it's later. No, maybe it's a later Rashi. That's the next Gemara that there's two Rashis. Yeah, it uses the same pasuk later in Rashi. Okay, so that's the shot here. That this brings anger. Let me mute everyone for a second. Okay, so Mordechai, you wanted to say something? Mordechai? Just unmute.
Yes, hold on a second. Yeah, I guess the opposite would be Coney and Margot, who would say, "You didn't need me, it already rained."
Wait, say that again.
In other words, he would bring the rain, but then he would tell the people, "You didn't need me; it already rained."
Right. Good source, good connection over here. Yes. So in other words, the concept is you have to make sure that it's but the truth is this is going a step further. What did he really think? This is, he didn't want to show off to them. What about himself? Did he feel megas daitoi olav? Here it sounds like he shouldn't even think of himself as he's great. It's like it's another level. That's he doesn't want them to start honoring him. But here he also doesn't want to himself feel like it's all because of him. So, but yeah, good. There's still good connection. Rava Amar Shnei Talmidei Chacham Sheyishvim Berachas. Rava says that there's two scholars that are in one city. They don't talk to each other in halacha and shmooze with each other. Miskanin ba'af. They cause anger from Hashem to be incited. They myelin oisai, and they bring it upon them. Jenem, as it says, mikna af alayla. So again, it's that same pasuk. Yagid olav reyoy, that they should speak to each other in halacha, and if they don't, if they don't do that, you're causing anger to come upon you, because you should have been yagid olav reyoy. You should have been speaking with each other. Your friend should speak to you about Torah, and if you don't, because you should have done that, mikna afalayla, you're causing anger to come. But there is another girsa in Rashi. This is where Rashi has two girsais. Rashi says there's another girsa here that it says that if they do speak to each other in halacha, they cause anger to be removed from them, and then the pasuk fits a little smoother. Yagid olav reyai, by them discussing, his friend discusses with him his insights in Torah and halacha. So maybe af al oila, mikna af al oila, he causes the anger to be removed. It causes anger to be removed from them, not to them, but from them, because that's the two pshatim over here. But basically, people should speak to each other in halacha. Reish Lakish says, what does it mean in the pasuk? If the snake bit without being charmed, and there's no benefit to the person who knows how to charm. So he translates. Reish Lakish has another shot. It's referring to in the future. All the animals are going to come to the snake. They're going to tell him, the lion, it tears apart, and it kills, and it eats. It eats from its prey. Ze'ev, a wolf, it does the same thing. It tears apart, and it eats. But you snake, mahana yesh l'cha, what do you benefit from killing? It's not like you're benefiting from the food. You don't even get a taste of the food. By you, everything is dust and dirt. What do you benefit from this? So he answers back in the verse. This is that verse in Koheles. So it says, you want to know what I benefit? And what does the person who speaks Lashon Hara benefit? Also nothing. There's no benefit for the person who speaks Lashon Hara to the person who has a tongue. What does he benefit? Yet he still does it. So that's why you're surprised that I was involved in biting and just ruining things. The Baal Lashon Hara also does the same thing. Okay, Rabami says, a person's tefillah, his prayer is not heard unless he puts his soul in his palm. The different perushim, what this means, that he has a lot of kavana. His soul in his palm means he has a lot of kavana, Rashi says, or it's his mouth and his heart is together, which also seemingly means kavana, or he directs his heart to not to go in whatever it wants, but he puts it in his hand, that he is careful in what he does. He's in control of himself. It's in his hand. His heart is in his hand. So that's another pshat, which is different than just having intent. Kavana, concentration is one thing, but here comes a whole new, different meaning. That nafshe b'chapa, his soul, his inclinations are controlled by his palm, by his hand. Shenem, as it says, so your prayer will be heard only if you have that. As it says, Nisa levavenu el kapayim, I lift up my heart to my palm. So the Gemara says, Eini, is that so? Ikem shmul amayra alei v'darash v'yvatu b'fiyim l'sheinu chaz v'lay. That there are people that their tongue is they by fatu b'fihem, that they tricked, or they appeased with their words, but they lied to them with their mouth. And their heart was not proper with them. And they weren't trustworthy with their commitments, with their. So in other words, nevertheless, and still Hashem forgives. So Hashem listens to your prayer, even if you aren't so sincere and so on. So my answer is like Kasha kan b'yachid, kan b'tzibur. My answer is that this is the famous difference between a person who davens alone or he davens in a shul with a congregation. If there's a minyan, so you're davening with a tzibur, so your prayers are answered even if you don't have the full concentration, or even according to the other pshat, it seems even if you're not totally in control of your inclination, your prayers are answered because you sort of like get your prayers, they go up to the heavens together along with all the other prayers of the other people who maybe are more righteous than you. But if you're biyachid, then you're on your own merit, and then it's much harder for it to be answered. Rabami says the rain only falls because of people who have faith in Hashem. Shemad says emes mir tzitzmach, the truth from the earth is grows, is sprouts. But tzedek mishamayim nishkaf, and tzedek, righteousness falls down, appears from shamayim. So what does this mean? So in other words, what it means is that emes me'aretz tzitzmach, when there's truth from the land that sprouts, that means people trust each other, then tzedek meshamayim nishkaf, then Hashem can send down tzedakah, charity, from the heavens. It'll be it'll appear from the heavens, the charity. So, but that all has to do with emes me'eretz, that in the land is emes, and what that means is that people are trustworthy in their dealings. Rabami says, look how great people who keep their word, Bali Amana, people who are honest to their statements, commitments. Minayin, how do we know this? Mi Cholda Ubar, from the story of the Cholda Ubar, which seemingly was a famous story because the Gemara doesn't say it, but the Rashi and Taanis bring it, and it seems like it was a famous story, which we spoke about. That there was a girl that was stuck inside some bar. She fell in a pit, and so Bacher came and she said, "Help, get me out." He says, "Will you marry me?" And so they made up that they would marry each other. They made a commitment, but they said there's no witnesses. They said, well, they won't end up married. They won't marry anyone else. When they get older, they're going to marry each other. And there were no witnesses. So they said, let the weasel that was passing by and the bar that she was in, the pit that she fell in, let those be the witnesses. So they both agreed. They made a commitment that he's not going to marry anyone else. She's not going to marry anyone else. They're going to marry each other. And ended up happening was she kept her commitment, but he didn't. He married someone else. In the end, two of his kids, he had two kids. They both died. And the wife said, why are these tragedies, two tragedies happened to them? So they said, because, so he told her the story that he made a commitment to marry this other person. So she said, well, you better go and do that. He gave her a get and went in to marry this other woman that he had made a commitment for. But you see how even Umaha Maimin, so the Gemara continues, says Umaha Maimin b'chuldu bar, she's just like the person who believes, who trusts that they'll be the witnesses, the chulda, the weasel, and the bar, the pit. This is what happened. A Maimin b'Kodesh Baruch Hu, a person trusts Hashem to fulfill his that he's going to be the witness for his commitments. Allah has come, how much more so that he has to be careful and to keep his word. So the Rabami says how important it is to keep one's word. Even just making the weasel in a pit are witnesses. How much more so when it comes to Hashem being the witness. Okay, so it says Rabbi Yochanan says a person.
No.
Okay, so Rabbi Yochanan says, "Kol matzik azasme," a person who is matzdik himself milmata. Now, the way Rashi learns over here is matzdik person who's machshir makashet myself, who makes his actions very uh, um, uh, very beautiful, nice, makes his refined. So it says matzdikin olav milmaila, matzdikin olav hadin milmaila. They will act in according to the letter of the law from above, which means that he will get his punishments, what he deserves, in order to cleanse him. In other words, if a person really tries to do good deeds and make them really beautiful, so he will get his punishments here on earth right away, so that he will accomplish what he wants to, which is to have a clean slate. So Hashem will help him. If a person is trying to have a clean slate, Hashem will help him. So what the Gemara is basically saying, according to this, is that he is that a person who wants to have a clean slate, he, that could be a reason why he's going to have his punished. If you see someone punished, it could be like a very positive thing, that it's because he's getting himself a very clean slate, and he's trying hard to do tshuva and to connect to Hashem on a higher level, and therefore he's getting his punishments. Hashem will accomplish. Hashem will help him, and he will punish him and cleanse him ultimately from his avedus, and allow him to reach this high level. Now the Maharsha has a different shot here, that it's a person who says, "Oh, I deserve this punishment. I should really get this punishment because, oh boy, all my sins and this." Person who says that, it causes that to happen to him. Matzdikin olav hadin milmaila, because you say you're opening up your mouth to the Satan to do it, and so therefore a person should never say, "Oh, I deserve to have this punishment," or "I deserve to have that punishment." If it happened already, you could be thankful to Hashem. Thank you for punishing me in this way. I'm sure it's to cleanse myself or something. But if it's didn't come yet, and you're saying, "Oh, I deserve that thing to happen," or this business to go bad and sour, if you say that, you're being matzdik hadin. You're matzdik hadin milmaila. You're causing that they'll make it happen above, because you're opening your mouth up. You shouldn't say such words. So that's another pshat. Anyway, so the source of this shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, these two pshatim, that is emes me'eretz titzmach. That's something to do with here on earth. You're saying you're doing emes. Your emes, the truth is on earth is blossoming. But tzedek mishamayim nishkaf, and tzedek, and Rashi says that tzedek and not tzedakah. Tzedakah would mean more like charity and kindness, but tzedek more means like righteous, justness. That justice will be appear from the shamayim. Will look down upon him from heaven. Okay, Rav Chia bar Ravin Amar Rav Huna. Rav Chia bar Ravin, in the name of Rav Huna, says Mehacha, from another pasuk. You see the same idea. Ochiyarascha evrasecha, like your fear is your anger. So, in other words, according to a person's fear, that's how he's causing anger to come upon himself. He's fearing Hashem, and he's causing Hashem to put his anger on him. But ultimately, according to Rashi, what it means is he's allowing Hashem to let it out, and now he can have love for, ultimately he can be cleansed and have the anger finished. It'll finish up. Or the other pshat was that you're like you're acting in a way that you're saying that you deserve a certain punishment. Evrasecha, you're causing Hashem to give you that punishment. Reish Lakish says another pasuk, pasuk in Isaiah, Pagata sos va'isei tzedek b'drachecha yizkarucha heinata katzavta v'nechta behem oilam v'nivasheya. So this pasuk in Isaiah basically means that you have pagata, you have punished, or sus, one who is rejoicing, va'isei tzedek, and performs righteousness. Bidrachecha yizkarucha, in ways of yours, they will remember you. Hein ato kotzafta v'nechata, now you have become angry, and because we sinned, Bahem olam v'nivashea, through them we will be saved. We will be saved in the world. I mean, the world to come. So, what does this mean? That you see from here that you punish, and the one who rejoices and performs righteousness. However, I'm just gonna read in the of the art scroll over here. However, in these ways of yours of painting them, they will recall you for good and say, behold, you have become angry because we have sinned. So, and through them, we will be saved in the world to come. So, I guess according to the Pshat, that it means that you're refining your actions. So this person is Oiset Tzedek, and it says Pagata. Hashem will punish him who is performing righteousness. So he's acting righteous. Hashem punishes him. I guess that's the sword, the proof from this pasuk. And they will recall you for good and say, you have become angry because we have sinned, but it's worth it. We're going to get the merit. So I guess the pasuk sort of pretty much emphasizes the way Rashi learned it. Now, according to the Marsha, how do you learn it? So it's you're saying something about something, you deserve a punishment, and Hashem is going to give it to you. Pagata sus v'oset tzedek, a person who does who judges himself, Hashem punishes. That's how he's translating it. Pagata sus v'oset tzedek, you're punishing the person who rejoices and made a judgment against himself. You punish him. Bidrachecha yizkarucha, in ways of yours, in your ways, yizkarucha, they will recall you. In other words, they will say that they deserve this punishment. Heinato katzavta v'nechata, you should punish us because we have sinned. In other words, you're behem olam v'nivashea, and through that we will be saved. In other words, a person will say this, and Hashem will actually punish him accordingly. No, it's because he sort of like brought it upon himself. So that's seemingly the way the Marsha is learning it. Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, whoever is happy with punishments, all of that come upon him, maybe Yeshua La'ilam, he brings salvation to the world. So in other words, here the Gemara is emphasizing the fact that if it's after the fact, before the Gemara was talking about before the fact, here we're talking about after the fact, that you're happy that Hashem punished you. So this brings salvation to the world. Shneimar says, "Bahem olam v'nivashea," as he's translating the pasuk to mean that it's that through them the world we have salvation. The world has salvation. It brings salvation to the world through them because of the punishment. Because I'm happy that you punish. I'm accepting it with and I believe that I deserved it. So it brings salvation to the world. Okay, I'm Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish says, what does it mean in the Shema? It says, I will withhold the heavens from rain. So it means when the heavens are withheld from giving dew and rain, it's similar to a woman who is in the pangs of labor. And she's not able to give birth. The baby is not coming out. And the same type of pain that's happening, that's what happens when the heavens has rain and it doesn't rain. In other words, there's rain in heavens and Hashem has to withhold it. Withholding the rain is similar to a woman who wishes the baby would come out and is in excruciating pain, and it's not and the baby is not coming out. This is what Reish Lakish says in the name of Bar Kapara, that we find a lot of similarities between rain and a woman who is pregnant. What are the similarities? It says Atzira the Nemra Atzira B'Geshamim and Nemra Atzira B'Isha. It says both of them this concept of being constipated, so to speak. It's not coming. The rain is not coming out, or the baby's not coming out. Nemra Atzira B'Isha. It says it by a woman that it's being held in. Shnem, as it says regarding the story of Avimelech and his whole country, that they couldn't. None of their orifices were working. They couldn't give birth. They couldn't go to the bathroom, and this was all because he stole Sarah to his palace. And even though he didn't actually live with her, but he didn't live with her because Hashem didn't let him live with her, because she had the power to punish Avimelech, to tell the angel to punish Avimelech that he shouldn't be with her. But anyway, the word Atzira, it says by both. So it says Ki Yotzer Atzer Hashem Bat Kol Rechem. Hashem withheld the rechem, the wombs. No one was able to give birth then. So Hashem Atzar. It says the word Atzar, that Hashem held back. In Emra Atzira B'Gesham, it says Atzira by rain. The Chsiv says Vatzar Shemayim. So it says the same term with a woman giving birth, or woman or the rain. Nemra Leda Bisha, it says birthing by a woman, the word Leda. But Nemra Leda B'Gesham, it says the same concept by rain. Nemra Leda Bisha, where does it say by Isha? The Chsiv, as it says Vatar Tela Bain. She Tela, used the word Leda, gave birth to a son. Remember Leda B'Gesham, it says Leda by rain. The Chsiv V'Lida V'Etzmicha. There's a pasuk in Isaiah which we say in the Haftarah of the fast days. Lida will make pregnant. V'Etzmicha, or give birth, give birth, will give birth, V'Etzmicha, and will grow. The Nemar Pekida B'Isha, it says the same term of Pekida, which Pekida, Hashem Pakad Asara, Hashem remembered. It says Pekida. Nemar B'Isha, it says by a woman. Nemar Pekida B'Gesham, that Hashem remembered them and gave them the blessing of giving birth. It says by a woman. Nemar Pekida B'Isha, it says Pekida remembering by a woman. As it says Hashem Pakad Asara, Hashem remembered Sarah, that and Hashem made her get pregnant, even though she was 9 years old. Yes.
Where's the place?
We are on 8b, and we are maybe about 10 lines from the top of the page. Benemra Pekida B'Gesham, and it says remembering by rain. The Chsiv, as it says, V'Hailida. I'm sorry. The Chsiv, it says Pekida B'Gesham. The Chsiv, as it says Pakara Toharetz Vat Sheikikaha. You remembered the land, gave it to drink. Rabas Tashrena Pelagelikim Mole Mayim. That the Rabas Tashrena, you gave it abundance of wealth, enriched it abundantly, and from Pelagelikim Moli Mayim, from Hashem's pool that's filled with water. So what this means is that it says the word Pekida, remembering, by rain as well, just like it says it by a woman giving that she should get pregnant. So it says it also by the rain, that Hashem remembered the earth and gave it to drink and watered it. So we see the same concept, which is emphasizing, seemingly what it's emphasizing is that it's just like it's painful for a woman to withhold the rain, it's painful to withhold the birth, it's also painful withholding the rain. In other words, like it's Hashem wants it to rain. My pelago kimali mine, what does it mean? Hashem's pool is filled with water. So Tana, we learned in it was learned in a brisa that Kamin Kuba Yesh Barakia, there's some type of a box or chamber in the heavens, that the rain comes from there. Okay, so next Gemara, the beginning of the line, we're on 8b, and we're about 13 lines from the top of the page. Shmuel Bar Nachmani says, what does it mean in the pasuk? That again, these are poetic verses which we're trying to translate and explain according to a lot of they're basically connected to rain. So the Gemara understands them in a giving us insight into the way Hashem gives rain to the world. And this pasuk as well is going to be talking about rain, where what it benefits. So it says im l'shevet, if it's to punish, like a rod used to punish, or im la'artzai, if it's for the earth, im l'chesed yamtziehu, if he is making it found for chesed. This is the verse. Now let's see what it means. So the Gemara says that im l'shevet, if it's to punish. So in other words, that the Jewish people were given a judgment that they should be punished, and that the rain is going to fall it's going to be a hurricane. So it's l'shevet, it's like going to be a stick, like giving a real whacking, going to whack the earth. So then what happens? So if they do tshuva, so it's baharim, then baharim of voice, it'll rain that way on the mountains and on the hills, and it won't cause damage to the to all the to the fields. In other words, if the people do tshuva, so they can switch even though Hashem already made this decree, and it was already set, so to speak, set in stone, so to speak. But if they do tshuva, Hashem can sort of manipulate it to the mountains and the hills. Im l'chesed, or if they were given a judgment somewhere in the like for kindness, in other words, that they were judged on Rosh Hashanah, that would be somewhere like more of a pleasant rain. So, and then they become even more righteous. So then it says, Im l'chesed yamtziehu. So it says Hashem will make it presented la'artzai for the la'artzai for his land, besadais uchramim. So again, what did the pasuk say? Im l'shevet, im li'artzai, im l'chesed yamtziehu. So im l'shevet, then the Gemara says that'll be. Let me just 1 second. Where's the pasuk over here? I just want to see the whole pasuk. The whole pasuk is as follows. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole. That's basically the pasuk. Im l'shevet, im li'artzai, im l'chesed yamtziehu. So there's 3 options. Im l'shevet, so then Hashem will switch it for the mountains. Im l'chesed, so then it says im l'chesed, yamtziehu. It'll end up being besadais uchramim. It'll go to they become more righteous. It'll go exactly where it's needed, and the rain won't go where it's not needed at all. It'll all go to benefit the people in the fields and in the vineyards. In other words, that's how we're translating the pasuk. Oh, switching around the words. That im la'artzai, im l'chesed yamtziehu. In other words, that if it's Hashem made a decree that it should be l'chesed, so it'll go to the land. Hashem will present it to its land, to the best land that's possible for it. Meaning, it'll go straight to the like you sometimes see that the rain stops exactly at a certain place. That's exactly where it was needed, so to speak. In the case where they did tshuva, they became even more righteous. So Hashem will make it go exactly where it's needed. And then the Gemara has another pshat. In l'shevet, if the when the rain falls very fast, that means that it's like it's a rod, then it's good for the ilanis. That's good for the trees. Im la'artzai, if it's the regular pleasant, then it's lizraim. It's good for the seeds that are planted that they need pleasant rain. Im l'chesed, if Hashem is doing kindness to the people, so then it's in other words a lot of rain. So then it's good. The yamtziehu, he's presenting it. It's going to be for bayrais shichen u'ma'arais. It'll go to the pools of the reservoirs. The bar is a type of pit. Shichen, another type of pit. Mara, a cave. basically these are places where they would hold the water. They'd be like the reservoirs of water. So then, so that's the meaning of the pasuk, that it has different different types of rain, different strokes for different folks. You know, the different rains are good for different things and different benefits that they have. So that's what the difference of the reason for the three different categories in the pasuk: la'artzoi, l'chesed, l'shevet. Okay. Then the Gemara says, "We made Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani have a kafna ma'isna." In the days of Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani, there was a kafna, a drought, or a famine, I should say, a famine. Ma'isna and a plague. There was a kafna and a ma'isna, a famine and a plague. Amri, so they said, "Hey, now what should we do? Should we ask Hashem for both? We're not really supposed to ask. Like we'll soon see that you're not supposed to ask for two things. So what should we ask for? So they said, so let's ask rain for the plague. That the plague should stop. For kafna nisbo, we'll handle the famine. The famine will handle. Okay, we won't eat as much. We'll struggle. We'll suffer, but at least the plague will go away. Because the plague we die right away. So they said let's daven for the plague. So Amrluhu, Reb Shmuel bar Nachmani said let's instead let's daven for the famine, not for the plague. Why? When Hashem gives sustenance, but He's giving it, then automatically it's for life. He's not giving it for a waste. As it says in the pasuk, that He open your hand, that Hashem open your hand, Hashem maspia l'chol chai ratzoin, and you satisfy every chai, you satisfy people who are alive, ratzoin, with your will. So, which means that, or according to His will, according to a person's desire. So the point is that l'chol chai, say l'chol chai. So that the reason why it says l'chol chai is that it's specifically going to help those people that need life, or that for them to live. In other words, it's to give life to people. It's not just going to wait. It's not just a blessing for that Hashem is going to, so to speak, let the famine go away, and then people are going to die. That would be no purpose. So it's that He gives satisfies to every living person. And this way, basically, it'll daven for one thing, but ultimately it'll work for both. They'll daven for the famine, and ultimately it'll save them because Hashem will give them rain, and they'll have food, but it'll ultimately save them from the plague, because He's going to give them food for them to live. So the Minolan dilemma the Gemara says, so how do we know you're not supposed to daven for two things? As it says, when we're going to pray, fast, and ask from Hashem for this. So the fact that He's asking for this sounds like there is something else, and but we're only asking for this. My Rav Amri made the Rebbe Chagai in Eretz Yisrael in the west, which is west of Babylon. So they would say the name of Rebbe Chagai, that Mehacha, they would have another pasuk that says, the pasuk in Daniel, Rachman Mivam and Kadam al Kashmaya al Raza Dina, that Rachman, to ask for mercy, Miva is to ask Kadam al from before Hashem, Shmaya of the heavens, the al Raza Dina, for this secret, that he wanted to be revealed, this secret. So he specifically asked for this secret. What does that mean? There was something else that he should have asked for, but he couldn't, because you don't ask for two things. And so we spoke about how this works. Like, what does this mean? You're not allowed to ask for more than two things. Our whole Shemoneh Esrei is sort of like a contradiction to this concept. We ask how many brachas are there in Shemoneh Esrei? Middle brachas is 12 or 13 middle brachas. So of course you ask for more than two things. So I think we discussed a number of when does it apply that you don't ask for. So it says tzibur, a community that has two tzaras, So you don't ask for rachamim only on one of them. If they're fasting, so um, um, so in other words, the merits, of course, can bring a lot of blessings, but for actual prayer, you only ask through prayer, which is asking Hashem for a free gift. You only ask for one. And that's why we find um, um, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked for two things, so because he wants to pass over the land, he wants to see it. So Hashem answered him that he's going to be able to see it. It says. Now, how do we daven Shemini Esrei? Is because b'derech tefillah that we shouldn't come to a tzara. It's allowed, but if there was already a gzeira, then and there's two tzaras, you can only ask for one. But if there's two things that already happened, that's a problem. To ask in advance, to pray for protection, that's fine. To ask for all different types of protection. But once there's a plague, or a famine, or this other tzaras, that would be a problem. The reason why you don't want to ask for two things is because it'll cause there to be too many prosecution angels coming against you. You just ask for one, it like makes it it's like they're not gonna create a whole lawsuit against you. But if you ask for two, you're bringing up a whole you have two lawyers, so you have two, you're putting up a whole team of lawyers for your protection. They're going to bring a whole team of lawyers for their prosecution. So that's what it seems. So again, that seems like the way they're answering the Shemini Esrei is that it's protection in advance, and it's not two tzaras in front of you that have already come. Now it also says that it only applies outside of Eretz Yisrael, but not in Eretz Yisrael. Because outside of Eretz Yisrael, there's like a different Shivim Sarim, the 70, what they call them, 70, are they called archangels? Some like angels above from each nation. So there, they all will gang up. But if it's in Eretz Yisrael, it's not a problem. There you could daven from more than one tzara. Interesting. So I guess this story where was the story of Shmuel Bar Nachmani? We'll have to look him up, see where he lived to check out Isaac's book where Shmuel Bar Nachmani lived. Assume that was, according to this pshat, it was that must have been outside of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, the Gemara says, Bimei Rebbe, in the days of Rebbe goes as Reb Zera. Sorry, Bimei Rebbe Zera goes of Zera. There was a Zera, the Taanis. They also made a decree that you're not allowed to fast. So they said that they made a decree. The Goyim made a decree. The Goyim made a harsh decree against the Jews, and they also said the Jews can't fast because they don't want them to. They don't want blessing to come to the people because of the Yidden. So again, there was a they made a Gzeira of Shema. They wanted the Yidden to convert. This is how they translate it here. They wanted the Yidden to convert. I'm just looking over here in Rashi. No Rashi. So and the reason was because there was no rain. Oh, there is a Rashi here. Yeah. So there was no rain. And so they made a decree against the Jews, but they also made a decree that the Jews can't do anything about it. So they can't fast. So Amar Rav Zera said, let us accept upon ourselves to fast, and we won't fast now because we're not allowed to. And once the gzera, the decree against us is batal, then we'll actually fulfill our fast. We'll sit in a fast. Amri lay. So the people asked Reb Zedor, he said, Manolacha, how do you know you can do such a thing? You may accept on yourself something that you're not able to do, and you think that's going to help us to bring blessing from Hashem because we accepted it on ourselves. We're not even going to fast. We're just accepting on ourselves that at some point we're going to be taking on, each of us are going to fast 2-3 days or something. So Amalahu Dechsiv, he says, yeah, it says a pasuk. Once the first day that you already had in mind, you put your heart that you're going to understand the fear of Hashem and fast before Hashem. L'sanos is a Taanis. Before Hashem, Nishbu Dvarecha, your words are already heard. So you see, even from just accepting on oneself, that already brings blessing. And even if you didn't actually do it, but you'll do it when you're able to. Even the years are, even if the years are like the years of Eliyahu, where they didn't have rain for three years in a row. Yardu Gesham, and rain comes. Even if it falls on Erev Shabbos, then even though it didn't rain in 3 years, and now it falls on Erev Shabbos on Einan Ella Siman Klala, it is actually a bad sign. So even though it rains now, but it's a bad sign. Dahainu Damer, Rabbi Barshelo, Kasha Yama Demitra, Yama Dedina. Here we have some negative things about rain, that the day of rain is bad, just like the day of judgment. That, in other words, it creates a lot of problems, a lot of suffering because of it's hard to do things when it rains, so especially on a Friday. Amar Amemar, Eloi de Tzarch Lebri also being Rachmi Batlino lay. Amemar said a similar thing, that if not that the people need it, I would ask for mercy and I would get rid of this whole concept of rain. But people need it, so we can't. But we would ask Hashem to remove rain, if not that people didn't need it. It says the sun shining on Shabbos is a charity for the poor, because they benefit from the sun, especially on a cold day. So it says the end of the puzzle, that the sun shines on you. Those that fear my name, in other words, by keep Shabbos, and because they Yirei Shemi, they fear my name, they keep Shabbos, and they'll have tzedakah. Shemesh tzedakah marpe, the sun will be tzedakah for them, charity, and it'll heal them. So that's the sun can be like a tzedakah for the poor. Great is the day of rain, that even a coin, a pruta, the smallest coin is called a pruta, in the wallet, will be blessed. Shenemar, as it says, that Hashem will give rain in its time, and He will bless all the Maisi Yodecha. Anything that you do will be blessed. Rashi says over here, even Maisi Yodayim, even your actions that don't need rain are blessed. Even things that don't really need rain. In other words, you're not planting. Planting, of course, you need rain. So of course that the plants will be blessed. But let's say you're doing your stocks inside. You're on the computer with your switching, buying and selling stocks. So a day of rain, even the pruta shabakis, even your coin in the wallet is blessed. Misparechas by Rashi says, which means even things that are not dependent on rain. That's why it picks that example. As it says, He gives the rain in its time, and He blesses all of your actions. In other words, not necessarily connected to the rain, just the fact that it's like a ace rotzen. It's a good time. It's an auspicious time. Rabbi Yitzchok says a bracha is only found in something that is hidden from the eye. It says Hashem will command His blessing in your silo, and but we're translating basamecha to mean in your hidden things that are hidden. That Hashem will command His blessing to be in things that are hidden. And Taanis very Shmuel, the base mention Rabbi Shmuel taught, the blessing is only found in something that the eye doesn't see. It says the same idea, that it has to be something that you're not it's not revealed. In other words, anything that's revealed, it's hard for Hashem to do a miracle, to bless it, because it's already revealed. It's like it would be a revealed miracle. But if something hidden, then Hashem can bless it more. Person, the rabbis learn, person who comes to measure his goyren, his granary. He says, may it be your will, Hashem, our God, that you should send blessing in the work of our hands. Once he starts measuring, he should say this: Baruch, blessed is Hashem, who's bringing blessing in this pile. Madad, what happens if he already measured everything? And afterwards he makes a bracha. It's a blessing in vain, because once the counting was already done, measuring was already done, you can't say a bracha. There's no more blessing, because the blessing can't be filled on something that's already weighed, not something that is measured, not something that's counted, only something that is hidden from the eye. Now comes the next Gemara that has maybe 5 or 6 different things. It says kibbutz, giyosos, tzedakah, meiser, karnas, siman. Yes.
Why can't you say thank you?
So we're not talking about a bracha of thanks. We're talking about a blessing that is like asking Hashem. I mean, we had a lot of discussion about this. This is a topic of definitely deserved a lot of thought. But the simple understanding is this bracha is not a bracha of praise. It's a bracha asking for this. At least the Ritva says it that way. That it's a bracha asking for a blessing, and therefore it doesn't work if it's doesn't work.
So then my question on the previous one, I said when he begins, it's already there. So what bracha are you going to ask, since it's already given to you? It's, if you say anything at all, the bracha has no, it doesn't do anything for you.
You're saying it's already, the blessing already came?
Where it says, where the heck was it that I saw? It says, you're talking about Hitchil limod, okay, which basically means he starts basically counting or measuring. Okay, yeah. So it's already there. So what bracha do you?
No, because he didn't finish counting, so it's fine. The bracha can still come. If he didn't finish, the bracha can still come. If he finished, that's a problem. But if he just started, then it's fine. The bracha can still come and all the rest. So again, the way we're translating it is that the bracha is on the future. Now there is another shot that the bracha is really on the past, and then according to that shot, what you're saying is correct. You really could say a bracha. Harizu tefillah shav means the yiratzon, which is a prayer for the blessing. But the bracha, which is a prayer of thanks, that you could say. But the yiratzon you can't say, because the yiratzon is really a prayer for the future. So there are 2 pshat. There are other pshat. Again, it was a topic of discussion. If you want to listen to the classes, we discussed it. But again, if the bracha, it depends on how you learn the bracha. The bracha on the future or the bracha on the past. If the bracha is on the future, so then it's a tefillah shav, because you're asking for a new channel of blessing in this, and it's already it's already too late because you counted it already. If it's on the past. In other words, so you're thanking Hashem, then you could say it. And tefillah shav is going on the yiratzon, you can't say, but you can say the bracha. Okay, so then the Gemara has these 4 or 5 different things. Rabbi Yechon says, Gol Yom Hashem came to its Golius. Great is the day of rain, like the day of gathering the exiles. It says, Yeshuva Hashem Shavisenu Kafikim Banegev. Hashem returns the captives like the Afikim Banegev, like the streams, I think, in the south. That's the greatness that shows the vein afikim ela mutter, and afikim we're translating it to mean the rain. As it says by Yero afike yam, and the floor of the sea they saw, and so afika means a place where the water pours out from. So so the same thing is here, that it's the greatness of the greatest day of rain, like the gathering of the exiles, because it compares Shvisenu and Afikim Banegev is basically the day of rain. And Negev means the dryness. I translated the south, maybe that's literal, but the Negev way we're translating it is that it's like in a dry land, like rain dry land. Okay. What?
So are we talking about flash floods in the desert?
No. What we're saying is that the great is the day of rain. Like we're just bringing the pasuk there, but the point is that it's a very special thing. A day of rain is great, just like the day of gathering the exile. That's a huge thing. It's just you think of rain as okay, today's raining, and it's like it sounds like a bad thing. No, it's great as the day. I mean, that's a huge statement that we're saying, and we're bringing a pasuk over there that Shuv Hashem is kafika manegev, that Hashem is
Afik is a place in the earth where the water usually runs. So when it's dry, it's an afik, but then the water runs in that afik. That groove, it's like a groove for the water.
Right, but the way we're darshaning it, it means the just like the rain, the like rain comes to dry land.
Right. When the rain comes, it runs in the afik.
Okay, anyway, we're going to stop here. It's much late. Okay, Sei gesund, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Rabbi.
I stopped you, Rabbi. Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.